update for week 18, days 120 through 122. But first, I'm going to show you where I am. I'm at Bear Lake. Really beautiful. Rolled into camp somewhat early today. It's actually week 19 right now, so I'm catching up. But really beautiful here, and we just went to a place called Blue Lake, which was like this, but a lot more like cerulean color, so it was really beautiful. So I'll show you that in week 19. But to get back to week 18, day 120, hiked into the famous Timberline Lodge. So I've been hearing about this place since the desert. They are supposed to have one of the best meals on trail. So it's a buffet, and it's this nice like lodge near Mount Hood. So yeah, hiked. It was a really big incline that morning, so we hiked about 9 miles to get there, and it was kind of like windy and a little bit like rainy. So it was nice to have some driving force behind what I was doing that morning. So hiking up had beautiful views of Mount Hood. So that was nice, and then there were like wildflowers everywhere, so that was gorgeous. And then as I was hiking up, I was kind of having a little bit of a hard time, and there was actually like a rainbow I saw like, over the lodge. So I was like, okay, if this isn't a sign, I don't know what is. So I picked up the pace a little bit and booked it the rest of the way to the lodge, and the food was amazing. So we did get the buffet, and it was very like high class buffet. So there was like rosemary potatoes and cheesy eggs. There was a waffle bar, which I didn't partake in because I don't think they had gluten-free, but there was a waffle bar and a really good like granola bar, oatmeal. They had like a smoothie. What else did they have? Like little quiches, and they had pina colada pancakes. So it was yeah, really, really good. And like homemade sausages and that sort of thing. So we made it like an hour before they closed up. So we took that whole time to eat. So I probably had like 3 plates full of stuff. So that was really awesome. Did some resupply. So I had a package sent to me there. So got that ready. Hung out in the lobby area. And I guess they filmed like part of The Shining, excuse me, at this hotel. So there were like tour groups going through, but I was just like sitting on the couch in front of the fireplace. So yeah, it was nice to like relax a little bit, and ended up hiking out the same day. So we hiked, I think, like 5 miles to this really cool campsite. Nobody else was there. It's kind of off trail a little bit and sandy, but there was a really great view of Mount Hood and some like waterfalls. So that was really, really cool. So yeah, a beautiful campsite for that night. Day 121, we had a couple river crossings. So yeah, it was like Sierra-esque, but luckily they were pretty easy. We didn't actually have to ford anything, so that was nice. There were like logs across, so took care of that in the morning. And then we met up with some friends at Ramona Falls. So we met up with our friends Stitch and Ragdoll. And Ramona Falls is like a side trail you can take, and it goes, it's actually an alternate. So you can take that and then hit the PCT. Again, it's kind of like a little half loop and it meets the PCT again. So we took that and had breakfast looking at Ramona Falls. So that was awesome. Really beautiful. So I'll show you some footage of that too. So yeah, ended up hiking quite a ways that day. And yeah, the river crossings were a little bit of a surprise, but we did it. Had a little bit, I think, of water, some longer water carries too. But all in all, a good day. And the next day, it was a hike into Cascade Locks. So it was a lot of like a big burn area for some of it. And so a little bit exposed, but that's okay. And a big decline into Cascade Locks. So I think it was about like, a lot of people make a big deal about the descent. And it was tough, but it was only like maybe 6 miles. And then there's a big flat part at the end going into Cascade Locks. So only about 6 miles of intense descent. But yeah, it was a little bit anticlimactic too, because where the trail lets out into Cascade Locks is where the Bridge of the Gods is. So that's like a big milestone for a lot of people, because it's the bridge going from Oregon to Washington. So you're crossing a state line. And so I was like kind of getting a little emotional hiking down, because there's like this big sign on the bridge saying Bridge of the Gods, and it's this like iconic thing. And so I was like, oh my gosh, getting kind of nervous and excited to take photos and that sort of thing. But I get down there, and Calzone and I just look at it, and it was like a toll booth before the bridge, and there was no sign. So we're like, oh, the sign must be on the other side. So it was a little it actually worked out, because when we ended up crossing it, which will be a little bit later on, then we got to take photos and stuff when we actually crossed the border. So it actually ended up working out, but it was just kind of like funny how we were like, oh my gosh, this is it. It's amazing. I can't believe we've done this. And then it was like the toll booth and no sign. So, but yeah, it was still fine. So we walked down to like look at the bridge some more and take some photos of the Columbia River. And there was this couple that they had like a fruit stand kind of on the side of the bridge with a couple other stands that sold things, and they just like gave us food, and because they were packing up for the day, so that was really nice. So we had a warm welcome into Cascade Locks, and then made our way over to this like hot dog place we'd been hearing about, and they had like vegan options and gluten-free options and like really good ice cream too. So it's called Locks of Dogs and Treats. So we went in there and had dinner and dessert, of course, and then set up our tents. There's like a PCT area where you can set up your tents, and you pay like $5. You can get a shower. So set up there, and we got ready for our 0 day, which I'll go over in the next video. Update for week 18, days 123 through 126. So I think I mentioned that we took a 0 in Cascade Locks, but we took a Nero. So day 123 was our Nero in Cascade Locks. Charming little town, really good food and nice people. Great trail town. They love PCT hikers. So yeah, we did laundry in the morning and had some coffee at this place like right near there, which was really great. They had like this vegan, gluten-free chocolate streusel muffin that was amazing. So I got like so many of them over the period when I was in Cascade Locks. So yeah, that was really great. Spent some time there. Had some Wi-Fi, so that was nice to kind of catch up on things. And yeah, so we did some chores and cleaned up our camp. I went to the hot dog place again. And luckily we saw, which I wasn't really expecting this, but we saw our old friends Snickers and Stevie Wonder, who we went through the Sierra with, part of the Sierra with, and their friend TW. So it was cool to see them. So we were going to actually leave at like 1 p.m. from town. But we ended up staying for a little bit, so to just like visit with them. So yeah, saw them, and then we crossed the Bridge of the Gods. So that was that's like kind of an iconic thing when you're doing the PCT, because that's over the Columbia River, and you go from Oregon to Washington over that bridge. So I have some footage of that. It was actually kind of scary, because when you go across, there's no pedestrian walkway, so you're like walking in the road or on the bridge, like with the cars. So there's no like place for you to walk. You just have to walk on the road, and it's like metal grates below you. So you can see all the way down to the river. And it was really like windy. So I was trying to like, get footage and everything. But I really had to concentrate on like holding my phone because if I dropped it, it would just be gone. So yeah, luckily got some footage of that and didn't drop my phone. But yeah, it was really invigorating, and just I couldn't believe it. It was a beautiful view up there too, going across the bridge. So yeah, went across the bridge and didn't get run over. And then we took photos after because the Bridge of the Gods sign on the top of the bridge is on the other side. So took some photos there, took a little break, excuse me, and then started hiking in Washington. So there were like a ton of blackberries at the beginning of the trail there. So we kind of got distracted and had some blackberries, and then hiked into camp and noticed that there were like not a lot of places to camp because there were a lot of people on trail. So I think a lot of people start hiking Washington from Cascade Locks because they want to like go across the bridge and then start their hike. So I noticed over the next few days that it was kind of hard to get a campsite because there are those people that are just starting, and then southbounders that are starting from Canada are coming in, and they're not doing as many miles as northbounders at this point. So they're like rolling into camp really early at this point. And us northbounders are like almost done with our hikes. So we're doing like, 24, 25, 30 miles a day. So we don't really roll into camp until like 8 p.m. or something. So yeah, it was kind of like a struggle over the next couple days to get some tent sites, unfortunately. And as you can see, I'll show you, it's so lush here in Washington that it's hard, even if you just like want to crash on the side of the trail or something. There's not a lot of like dirt spots to find at all, and you can't really like pitch your tent in a bush. It wouldn't be very pleasant. So, and it's not leave no trace either. So it's a little bit tougher actually in Washington to get like tent sites, unfortunately. So over the next couple days that was a little rough, but yeah, anyway, so that was 123. Day 124 and 125 were much the same. Unfortunately, just kind of like a green tunnel. And I mean, not unfortunately, it's still beautiful, but there weren't like sweeping views or anything. It was a little bit monotonous. So I put my audiobook in and music for most of the time. And yeah, just rolled into camp late both days. Luckily, there were a lot of berries on trail, so that's kind of nice. There's huckleberries and salmon berries and blackberries, and I think blueberries too. So I've been snacking on those. It's kind of nice to have like wild foods and fruit on the trail. And day 126, much the same. It was kind of cold and foggy, so we hiked, I think about, I'm trying to remember, maybe 16 miles or so to get to this road where we were going to hitchhike back into Cascade Locks because there's an event called PCT Trail Days in Cascade Locks, and it happened to be a couple days after we left. So we wanted to make some miles and then hitch back in so we could participate in that event. And so I'll go more into that in week 19 because that's when it actually happened. But there's like gear vendors and food vendors and that sort of thing, and raffle prizes and all that at the event. And then we knew that we were going to see a lot of people we hadn't seen for a long time. So it's kind of like a reunion as well. So that's why we wanted to go. And so we were able to make it happen. But hitchhiking from this dirt road or gravel road was really tough. We haven't really had a rough time hitching ever, unless we're talking about Dunsmuir, because that was kind of tough. But yeah, it took us about an hour to get a hitch, and actually a lot of people drove by, but they didn't know what we were doing. And even though we were like underneath the specific Crest Trail sign hitching, and I even brought my sign out. I made like a sign on my Tyvek ground sheet that says PCT, or it says hikers to town, or hiker to town, just so it's obvious that we're hikers and not homeless. And so I even brought that out, and a lot of people did not stop. Or even just stop to talk to us at all. They just kind of like drove by and did these like weird gestures, and it seemed like some people were mad at us. um, so we're like, okay, I guess people don't know about PCT hikers around here. So it was kind of a rough time. So after about an hour, this nice couple pulled over in a truck, and they thought they didn't really have room, but they wanted to stop and just talk to us anyway. And we're like, oh, we can squeeze in. And come to find out, there's another couple in the back of their truck. So they're like, okay, we can rearrange stuff. So we squeezed in, and they had a cabin up in the area, but it was like a half an hour before getting to Cascade Locks. So they ended up driving us all the way to Cascade Locks, and it was so sweet of them. They didn't even like want to take gas money or anything. So it was just like, people are so nice. I just can't get over the kindness I'm finding on this trail. It's amazing. So it makes me want to be a better person. Anyway, yeah, we got a hitch in, and of course, we went to our favorite hot dog place. Actually, oh, I take that back. We went to the ale house to eat, and then we went to the hot dog place. So I got food at both. So we ate, and then set up on, there's an island near where we camped the first time. And it was also near like where the event was going to be. So we went over there and pitched our tents with like a bunch of other tents for all the attendees for this PCT event. So pitched our tent, and went to bed and got ready for the next day, which I will go over in week 19. Summary for Oregon. So just kind of in general, Oregon I thought was really great. A lot of people try to just bust through it in 2 weeks. There's like a 2-week challenge or something. But I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I didn't rush through it. A lot of people also say it's relatively flat, and I guess compared to the Sierra and to Washington, it is, but there are some climbs, some decent climbs in Oregon. So if you're a future PCT hiker, don't be fooled. It's not totally flat, but you can make big miles if you want. So since it's a volcanic area, it's very dusty. So I found my buff to be really valuable, because I would like put it over my nose and my mouth while I was hiking if it was really dusty. It was a green tunnel, so mostly shady, but when it was sunny, it was hot. So be prepared for that too. But yeah, mostly shady, which was nice. What else? Oh, so the biggest downside for hiking through Oregon around July and August are the mosquitoes. So I would, if I could do this again, I would consider buying a mosquito suit, which is just like a big net that you wear over your whole body. But the mosquitoes really like me in particular, so that was kind of a problem specific to me. But I had a head net and my rain gear, so that was sufficient, but I still got hundreds and hundreds of bites. So something to think about protecting yourself against when you're going through Oregon. in the summertime. So that was kind of the negative, but there were so many positives. So the highlights were all the mountains and lakes. So my favorite lakes were Dumbbell and Summit Lake. We swimmed in, took a swim in Summit Lake, which was so nice. And then the mountains were amazing. So Mount Jefferson, Mount Hood. The Sisters area was so amazing, took my breath away. So definitely go back there on like a separate trip after this. And as far as food, the Timberline Lodge buffet was amazing. And it was only $20 for all you can eat. And the food was really high quality. And the lodge itself was really cool. So we'll definitely go back there. And then in Cascade Locks, this hot dog place that I frequented, I think I went there like 5 times. It's called Locks of Dogs and Treats. It's a weird name, but really good. They have really good ice cream too. And they offer gluten-free and vegan options. So another favorite spot to stop in town. So yeah, overall, Oregon was awesome. And I would suggest if you're gonna hike the PCT, don't rush through it, because it's really, really beautiful and you don't wanna miss a thing. So currently in Washington now, so I'll give you an update on Washington when I am finished with it. Okay, I'm back because I forgot a couple things. So continuing with the Oregon summary, I forgot to mention Crater Lake. That was one of the highlights, which I was amazed by. So hike the Rim Trail, and I definitely recommend that. It's an alternate for the PCT, but most people take it because it's so amazing. So definitely recommend doing that and visiting Crater Lake itself, like at the visitor center and all that stuff. Also forgot to mention, as I was hiking near the end of Oregon into Washington, there was this area, probably a day out of Cascade Locks, a day south, maybe like 30 miles, where you get a view of Mount Adams, Mount St. Helens, and Mount Rainier. So that was really beautiful and took my breath away. I was there at sunset. So definitely be on the lookout for that if you're gonna hike the PCT. It was amazing. And also just in general, I noticed that I encountered a lot more people in Oregon, and I think it's because the southbounders, I hit the southbounder bubble. So what kind of happened was, it was great to see people again because NorCal was pretty desolate, but what was happening was at that time, Calzo and I were doing pretty big miles. We were doing like 24 to 30 miles a day, and the southbounders were not doing as big of miles, so they would end up getting into camp like really early. So sometimes it was hard to find tent spots for us, but again, it was great to see people on the trail. So anyway, those were the things I forgot, sorry. But yeah, all in all, Oregon was really beautiful and shady, mosquito-y, but just stunning. So yeah, if you're a future PCT hiker, take your time through this state. Across the bridge of the Ghats, Columbia River, and there is no pedestrian zone, so we're sharing the road right now. Okay, we made it to Washington. And here is the iconic Bridge of the Gods. So excited to start, and it's obviously kind of trafficy right now, but excited to start Washington. Made it. Woohoo! Gear update for week 18. Not much to report actually for this week, but I guess really the only thing is I got a rip in my tent fly, or my tent, the netting of my tent, not my tent fly, my actual tent. So I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And then I remembered that Calzone had this tape, and it's called tenacious tape. And it's specifically for like outdoorsy equipment. So even like I have my puffy right here, even for like if your puffy has a hole or something, it's this tape that is very sturdy and strong, but it's also like cloth, so it moves like material. So I asked her if I could use some of her tenacious tape. And so I patched it with that, and it's working out really, really great. So I want to get more of that because I have other things to patch up too. My rainfly has a little hole in it, and my puffy actually has some holes in it. So probably going to order some of that on Amazon to just like mend my things so I don't have to get new stuff. So yeah, that's really pretty much it. The only thing, I guess the only other thing is I got rid of my my Under Armour shirt finally, because I wanted to make sure this Nike shirt was cool enough for when I hike, and it is. So yeah, loving this shirt, and yeah, got rid of my Under Armour shirt. I put it in a hiker box so maybe somebody else can use it. And also got rid of my sun gloves because since these have the thumb holes, the shirt, I don't really have to wear my sun gloves anymore. So I just thought I'd shed a little extra weight and put those in the hiker box at Cascade Locks when I stayed there overnight. So that is the update for week 18, and week 19 will have a pretty big update because I went to trail days and got a couple things. So I will update you on that pretty soon.